With us on the program today, Bob Moorehouse. He's one of the directors of the WRCA, that's the Working Ranch Cowboys Association. Hey, Bob, take a little bit of time and tell us about the Working Ranch Cowboys Association, will you? Why it was formed, what its mission is.
Sure. WRCA, Working Ranch Cowboy Association, this is our 16th rodeo this year, November the 10th through the 13th. I remember going to Wichita Falls several years ago, way before this, and starting, I helped start, I think, the first ranch rodeo. And they've gotten big since then because people like to see a real cowboy out there, and I don't take anything away from the PRCA guys or rodeo guys. They're very good at what they do, but these are real working cowboys, ranch cowboys. And it was formed, and some people just think, well, you're the guys that have the national finals or the finals, ranch rodeo finals. Yes, we are, but the reason that we have the ranch rodeo finals is to for a scholarship and a crisis fund. And as many of us know, the ranching industry and the cowboy doesn't have a lot of money in their pockets, and they have kids, sharp kids that need to go to college. We also have a lot of sickness and accidents. So we've set up this, that's what it's about, a scholarship and crisis fund. And I think this thing has been so fast growing, I think 500,000 probably distributed in 16 years. The first few years, it was really struggled very much. Now it just gets bigger every year. And Western Bloodstock, headquartered in Weatherford's, having a sale during the same weekend, and selling some good ranch horses, and 4-6s have a bunch of broodmares, I think 60 broodmares in there, maybe bred back, and so it's we're kind of tying them both together. Hopefully, it's a win-win situation where they're going to use our crowd and we're going to use their crowd. But I think our ticket sales that we pretty well sold out. We have four performances, and Thursday nights sometimes a little light, obviously, but our Thursday nights tickets are up, and maybe it's because of the horse sale. It's for the crisis fund and scholarship fund, and we feel real good about it.
You know, you have the ranch rodeo. What else goes on? And you've mentioned the horse sale, but what else goes on at this particular event?
Well, we'll have an auction, of course, for the foundation, people donating things, obviously maybe a fishing trip or a trip to a ranch or some, ropes or anything. They can donate, and we have an auction. And, of course, and the trade show is one of the bigger trade shows, and we kind of monitor it pretty good about who's in it and who's not, or who we let in, and it's very quality stuff. You can, we've always said you can, and the public said we can do all of our Christmas shopping right here. Of course, if they're from the ranching industry or cowboys or whatever, and it's a great trade show.
A lot of handcrafted stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. A lot of. It's not your ordinary, just spurs and bits. It's homemade bits, or not homemade bits, but custom-made bits and spurs, and a lot of collector's items. A lot of buyers' spurs and clapper and gates and things like that. But it's a neat place. Of course, we've got. I'm kind of involved with 3 or 4 of those things, and that's probably one of the bigger trade shows.
Okay, talk about what you're involved with, will you?
Well, I'm just on the board, and I kind of head of the ranch. I guess I left that out. Ranch horse competition. We have a Ranch Horse Association. Ranch Horse America Association, and we have. It's one of our bigger shows, and it in itself has grown drastically over the last few years. It's made cowboys realize what a good horse is. Until we had that it kind of ties in with rodeo. But until we had the Ranch Horse Association, the cowboys would have a good horse at home, but no one would see him except the other cowboys around him on that ranch, probably. And the same way with, we didn't. I'll jump around here, but the ranch rodeos are really. We've got to know every ranch and a lot of the contestants. It's really been fun and good for the ranches. With the ranch horse competition, I'm kind of helped with it. I'm director on it, so it's very exciting, and it's really the association has really tied in real well with the ranch horses. I mean the ranch rodeos, plus the fact that the ray hunts and all this stuff came in about 30 years ago, and it hit the ranches, and these cowboys they've got some dang good horses when 30 years ago they didn't. And so we've got this competition now where you can take them to town and show them all, and it's got very, very competitive, but that's good. That's what we wanted. It just makes better horses and better horsemen.
How do you show them off in this ranch horse competition?
Well, you come in and do your dry work, which is you got to show a spin, you got to show the back, stop in the back, and you got to show lead changes, and no necessarily set pattern, rollbacks both directions, and you get all that done, and then you nod for a cow. They turn a cow out, and you box him on the end, kind of like the rein cow horse, and box him on the end, and kind of show your horse will hold the cow. You take a little wind out of the cow, and that's actually the purpose of boxing. Then you obviously let him, he doesn't get by because you lose him, but you let him go down the fence and turn him both directions on the fence. When you satisfied that, you have you rope him, track, and you're judging all this. Of course, tracking in rates one thing, roping is one, and stopping is one, and then you pull the yearling 10, 12 feet just to show your horse will pull by the horn, and your time's up. And so, but everything you do in that is judged, and but anyway, it shows and the changing of leads, which we kind of laugh at that, what we knew 30 years ago about lead changes, and we'll all love it. And so I'll repeat it, it's really made better horsemen and better horses, the Ranch Horse Association.
Yeah, some of these ranch cowboys have really gotten to be good horsemen, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. They really have. And again, it goes back to this competition. And I've seen some come to the competition years ago and say, whoa, I got to take my horse home. I didn't know he had to stop like that. But, man, they got him slide and stop. And then that guy said, well, I got to take my horse home and work on that and this and this and this. Well, you see him a few weeks later, well, he worked on it, and he just didn't know what he had to do until he went to the competition and saw everybody else. So he went home and made a better horse. And then he might have watched some tapes, Teddy Robinson or some of the big boys watch their tapes. I kind of think that's important, and we have some tapes, or I don't think they call them tapes anymore, but something you can watch and see some a good run, versus somebody that made a mistake. It's really helped the horse industry.
Okay, let's get back to the rodeo. What events are involved in the Working Ranch Cowboys Association rodeo?
The events are built around kind of what we would do at home, and as much as possible. Now, we got bronc riding, which we got to ride with a pretty much stock saddle, a saddle just like you would basically use at home. If you don't watch them pretty close, they'll modify it and try to cheat a little bit, but we're watching them pretty close, especially this year. Then we have the wild cow milking. And people say, well, you don't do that on ranch, but actually we do. You get a cow that needs milking out, or we get at Pitchforks, we get a cow that a lot of times they have a horn growing in the head. In other words, it comes out and turns back in, and nearly every group of cows you bring in, you need to saw off a horn or catch her for some reason. So that's kind of like your cow milking, and it's a fun event. It's kind of rambunctious, but it's pretty safe. You don't kill. She might water on you a little bit, but she's not going to hurt you too much. And then we have a team pinning where you start. You team. They give you three numbers or a number and three head are out there, or a group of cattle with your number, and you cut out those three with your number and pin them, and that goes along real good with your at home. It's a good scenario, and then you have well, it's either pinning or the sorting, and usually it's pinning, and then you have doctoring, and that's you rope, and there's several ways of doing that. You can rope them and head and heel them. It's just like you'd have a thick yearling on wheat field or something. You got to catch them to doctor them, and so that kind of shows what you do there. So there's basically 5 events.
Yeah, and these are kind of interesting. That wild cow milking contest is when you get to see one of those, that's something else. And in reality, once in a while, you do have an old cow out there that you have to milk out for one reason or another, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you do. That's right. And whether it's you catch her to milk, or whether you catch her to cut off her horn, or whether you just catch her, there's several reasons. She might have foot rot, or she might have something in her foot, or she might have an oil filled ring, one of those rings that come off the end of an oil pipe. We have that a lot. So you catch them and get them down, wrestle them down, or head and kneel them, whatever, and do whatever you need to do to them. Let them up.
Well, Bob, let's take a quick break so we can get this program paid for, but you folks stay tuned. We'll have more in a moment. You're listening to the Horseman's Corner. Welcome back to the Horseman's Corner. I'm Howard Hale, host of the show. Our guest on these two segments, Bob Moorehouse, on the board of directors of the Working Ranch Cowboys Association. Let's continue with Bob. Hey, how do you determine what teams get to go to the finals?
Well, we're sanctioned, and 20-something teams this year qualified for the finals, meaning that they kind of go by our rules, meaning they had to have, I think 3 or 4 out of these 5 events in their ranch rodeo, plus the fact they have to be on a ranch team that qualifies, meaning they have to be on that ranch for so long, whether it's day working, X number of dollars, or a full-time employee, to meet our qualifications. And 2 ranches can go together, and I don't know, and 2 hats team actually can be which would be probably 2 people, could be day workers, but they have to. We don't want somebody just come in there and hire somebody they work for them to get to come to the a ranch rodeo. We want them to be authentic day workers, real day workers, and real full-time employees or full-time employees. The guidelines that they have to go by, and there's some others, like you got to have our banner in the arena, some minor stuff, and then we vote as a board or the sanctioning committee whether to sanction that rodeo. And we like the Western guys. To me, it's fun to see the guys with the flat hats and long ropes from Nevada, and of course we've had a Canadian team, we have a Florida team, and a lot of them in this area. But the more diverse that you can get, the more fun it is, I think, seeing those guys. And we kind of poke at each other, like, why do you use a rope that long? Why do you use a rope? What they say, why do you tie on, and why do you wear chinks, and why do you wear leggings, and why don't you crease your hat? So it's kind of fun in that respect. But some of the guys out west, we rope much different than them. The way we drag calves, and we're going to have to kind of maybe change up our rules and kind of rope like they do every once in a while to make it fair. And I'm kind of talking out of school there, but it's something, that we need to probably look at.
Boy, I guess it's interesting, isn't it, that there is quite a bit of difference from one region to another in the attire and some of the equipment that they use when you talk about the ropes and difference in saddles too, isn't there?
And to me, that's the fun part. As I said a while ago, you get these guys with the flat hats, and they call us taco hats, the way we bend them up, and we call them flat hats, and they'll have rope. We say, why don't you cut that rope into it and make two good ropes out of it? And it's all the way from the saddle to, it's just the bits, the headgear, and the ropes, and the stirrups, leggings versus chinks. And because of the ranch rodeo and because of the media and everything today, a lot of that stuff's kind of crossing over. We're having more people in this area, 40 years ago, we didn't know what a chink was. The leggings just kind of come down to your knees. Of course, they don't have the brush out there that we do here in Texas, so that's why we have to wear leggings and they wear the chinks. But a lot of people wearing chinks. A lot of people are using romal. We didn't know, we'd laughed at them a while back for using romals, and a lot of people in ranch horse competitions using romals, and the spade bit and all that stuff. It's interesting to see, and Waddy Mitchell, those guys have made some poems about the cowboy versus the vaquero, meaning, or the buckaroo, and why do you do that? And it's fun. It's fun to see those guys. I really enjoy them. Of course, the guys from Florida, they came in here, and we have rules like you got to wear leggings in the arena, chinks, leggings, whatever. Well, the guys from Florida says we don't own chinks. We don't wear chinks, and leggings or anything. We just don't own them. And we thought, well, we'll just let them slide because that's not part of their deal. And then we thought, well, if we let them slide, somebody from Texas is going to come up and say, well, we don't wear leggings either, which they'd be lying to us. But we didn't want to set a precedence on the leggings, so we told the guys from Florida, let the rule, go get some kind of leggings to put on, plastic, something to appease our rule. So anyway, that's got kind of a joke to them. It's so much different from the Florida guys to the Nevada guys, and even the Canadian guys, and then us Texans and Oklahoma, and this area is kind of in between.
Well, I'll tell you what, it would be interesting to watch a saddle bronc riding with a Wade saddle, I think.
Well, that is, you're exactly right. Of course, they have what I call squaw tits on them. They have the, and I always thought, why don't you buy a saddle that's slick and add something on there? But, yeah, but I've seen some guys with big old wide stirrups in the Wade saddle that's ride the heck out of them. I really have, and I've got a Wade saddle, and I would hate to. I ride it with gentle horses.
Well, I've got one too, but I have. When I bought them, they said it was sissy bumps is what I put on there.
Okay. Well, I shouldn't have said what I said. That's what I meant to say.
I know that's exactly what you meant to say. Talk about yourself a little bit. Where'd you grow up?
Around the Benjamin Guthrie area, King County, and big ranch country, and went to school for Soda Ross for a while, and transferred to Texas Tech, graduated there, and went to Pitchfork Ranch in, I think, 72, and stayed there until for 5 years, and we recently, I guess, retired, basically, and moved to Weatherford, and we have two daughters who live in Fort Worth, and actually I've got property down there, and I just wanted to come down closer to the lights, I guess, and I've been in what I call the sticks all my life, and a lot of things I haven't done around here, something going on all the time, and we have fun with their daughters, and we're just outside of Weatherford, and I just got back from picking up a horse in vet clinic, judged Red Steagall this past weekend, and just something like that keeps us busy. But I don't have anything, and everybody asks what I'm doing. I can't tell you what I'm doing, but it's kind of stay busy. I need to probably get busier, but that's it's kind of what I'm doing right now.
You also involved with some photography?
Yes, sir. I have a book. It's Pitchfork Country Photography by Bob Moorehouse. And I started shooting photographs at the Pitchfork Ranch, just seeing things that, especially cowboys, that I just thought somebody needs to be getting this on film. And it kind of, I can't see myself as a photographer. I can, as far as the buttons and everything on the camera, I can see things I want. I can see the certain light, and I can see what's supposed to be happening and what's fixing to happen. And so I just started taking photographs and have a good selection. And several years ago, Ranching Heritage Association in Lubbock, well, several asked me about a book, and finally the Ranching Heritage, I said, yeah, let's do it. And they said, we'll do all the work. So we put out the book. And it's been fun. It's been successful, and I haven't photographed much since I left there. Of course, obviously my subject matter is at Pitchfork Ranch, and I'm in Weatherford, and there's things around here to photograph, but not like what I like to photograph. But it's been a good, fun, I guess you'd say, a paying hobby, and I was fortunate. Red Stegall asked me this weekend to have a slideshow during Red and Don Edwards and Dan, two more. Anyway, Prescott and then they did their live singing, but they used David Spackbind's photograph in mine on big screens. They just kind of shoot them up there, just pretty rapid. But anyway, it's things like that. It's more of a hobby than it's not big income, but I like good photographs.
You adapted to life in the big city after all those years out in the sticks.
Well, actually, that's a good question, but I'm out of the big city. I'm not even in in Weatherford. We're out southwest of Weatherford, and it's different because you can jump in the car and be in Fort Worth in 30 minutes, or you can jump in the car and be down here at Lowe's in 10 minutes. And I kind of like it. It's raised up all my life, and where 80 miles from Lubbock was the closest town, or where I lived at Pitchfork, and you just didn't plan on anything. You went to Lubbock, and you didn't go up there for a little nut and bolt. And here, sometime I just think an excuse to go to Lowe's or Builder Square or something. I need a little something. But anyway, it's not hard to adapt. It really is not. I feel like I really enjoyed what I did all my life, and I really miss the ranch, and I miss the cowboys, and I miss cowboying. But far as and I miss the owners. But I'm on the board, so I get to see them, and it's good.
I don't know. Sometimes if you get into the big city and some of that traffic can be a little scarier than milking a wild cow.
Well, I've gotten used to that, and I don't. We don't get much traffic. Really don't. I don't. Of course, go to Houston, you will, and get right part of Dallas, and you will. But I can handle it. I'm traveling enough, but yeah, I kind of. It's like I used to think. Looking back at Pitchforks, would be way down in the Croton breaks, working cattle and hot or cold, and big crew, and just true. Everything around you is true cowboy, and then 2 days later, you're sitting in St. Louis in a plush office in a board meeting, and I think, well, this is a life. I like to travel. I enjoy my trips to St. Louis. They treat us good up there, and of course, you get in the boardroom, and you think they're all friends till you get in the boardroom, and then all of a sudden they kind of got some questions that you had never thought of. But it's been good. It really has. And the owners they're genuine. They're good for the land, and they really are behind the pitchforks, and it's and what it is, and they let us carry on tradition, say the chuck wagon, and branding like we did 100 years ago, and so they like that the old way.
Bob, we've run out of time for this segment of the Horseman's Corner, but gosh, it's good talking to you. And you get back with that photography and get some more of those good pictures, will you?
I will. Howard, good talking to you, and I hope I didn't ramble too much.
Bob Moorehouse on the board of directors of the Working Ranch Cowboys Association. Their finals rodeo starts the second week in November. Thanks for joining us for today's Horseman's Corner. May God bless you. Come back and join us again, won't you? I'm Howard Hale.